Welcome to Cadence Design Systems Fidelity Tutorial Tuesday, where we show you how to use a feature or demonstrate a technique in just a few minutes. In this video, we will show you the controls on the Boundaries tab of the new Assisted Quilt Assembly tool that was added to Fidelity Pointwise 2023.1. Here we again have the DLR F6 geometry used in the other Assisted Quilt Assembly videos, and as mentioned before, this comes from the AIAA's second drag prediction workshop. Select the model and go to Create Assisted Quilt Assembly. Now let's go over to the Boundaries tab. At the top of the panel is a table that shows the current classifications for quilt boundaries. The first 6 rows are the automatic classifications, and the final 4 are associated with user actions. Each classification has an associated type, either blocking or open, which is used by the flood fill algorithm. The algorithm can flood over boundaries classified as open and is blocked by boundaries classified as blocking. As an additional visual cue, blocking boundaries are rendered in a darker, bolder line than open boundaries. The automatic boundary classes are as follows. Lamina edges are placed in the Lamina class. These boundaries cannot be reclassified, and this category is provided purely for informational purposes. Boundaries are determined to be curvature, convex, and concave based on the settings in the settings frame. These are similar to the curvature, convex, and concave stretching filters in automatic surface mesh. Use the hard edge angle setting to control which edges are classified as convex and concave, and use the boundary curvature ratio to control which edges are classified as curvature. This ratio is the ratio between the curvature of the surface and the curvature of the boundary itself. Changing either parameter automatically triggers all boundaries to be reclassified and the groups to be updated accordingly. Geometric trim contains all boundaries created using the new Trim Geometrically command. And in the upcoming 2023.2 release, this will be extended to also include boundaries created by Trim by Surfaces and Trim by Curves. Boundaries that are not lamina, curvature, convex, concave, or geometric trim are placed in the unspecified class. If you lock a group, its boundaries are automatically moved into the locked open and locked blocking classes based on the current type for each boundary. This is to prevent any change in the settings from altering groups that have already been locked. The last 2 rows, user set open and user set blocking, are for making manual adjustments to the classification. This can be done in 2 ways. Select the boundaries to be modified and either check the box in the set column of the desired user set class, or use the Toggle Boundaries button to place them in the user set class of the opposite type. As indicated by the lightning bolt, the Toggle Boundaries button has a shortcut Control F or Command F on Mac. Smart Selection, which is on by default, automatically extends your selection to adjacent boundaries of the same type. For blocking boundaries, adjacent blocking boundaries will also be selected until it reaches a fork. For open boundaries, adjacent open boundaries will also be selected in as straight a line as possible until it reaches a blocking boundary. Show branch ends displays all branch ends using these orange square symbols. Branch ends are usually the result of the algorithm incorrectly identifying one or more boundaries using the current automatic settings. Either adjust the settings or simply toggle the incorrect boundaries to resolve these branch ends. Just as on the Groups tab, you can lock and unlock groups from the Boundaries tab. Lock Neighboring Groups locks all groups adjacent to the currently selected boundaries, and it has a shortcut Control-G or Command-G on Mac. You can also reverse the most recent locking operation using the Unlock Recent Locks button. And as usual, the Add to Selection button is used to add all of the boundaries in the highlighted class to the selection in the display window. Finally, the Boundary Pick Mask frame lets you specify which boundaries are currently selectable. By default, it is set to all, but you could narrow the selection to just open or just blocking boundaries if you need to. Now that we've covered all the controls, let's see it in action. Just as in the Groups tab video, we are going to correct the wing underside quilt groups using the tools on this tab, and we're going to also address all of the branch cuts. First, let's make sure Show Branch Cuts and Smart Selection are both on. I'm going to select one of the open boundaries at the wing fuselage junction and press Toggle Boundaries. Now let's address the branch cuts on the nacelle. It looks like there are a couple of open boundaries on the lip, bracket, and interior that need to be reclassified to blocking. For the wing leading edge, there's a few blocking boundaries that need to instead be open. Let's change the pick mask to blocking. Now we'll select the boundaries and toggle them. And finally, the fuselage closure. There are a few blocking boundaries that need to be open. Since my pick mask is already set to blocking and there are no other blocking boundaries in this region, I can just use a selection box for these. Now we just need to toggle the boundary dividing these 2 groups on the underside of the wing. The 2 groups are now one group, and we will lock it. We can see in this table that all of the boundaries for that locked group are now in the locked classes. The other boundaries that we manually toggled for the branch cuts are in the user set classes. And flipping over to the Groups tab, we can confirm that all branch cuts have been addressed. Press OK to exit. Again, this window pops up reminding us that there are unlocked groups. Remember, only locked groups will actually be assembled upon exiting Assisted Quilt Assembly. And we can see that the wing lower group we created and locked was assembled into a single quilt. If you like this video, be sure to click the thumbs up button or subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, drop us a line below or connect with us via LinkedIn, which is linked in the description. Thank you all and have a pleasant Tuesday.